Ready for the video?
Ready.
Let's do it. Great point, do you agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah, makes you better.
If you want
in
to
all
be in a
facets.
competitive situation, the thing is you have to work on your competence. Right now the problem is,
Situation at UT, like when I'm competing with someone, whether it's football or school,
Present practice. What's conscious? This is Vish and
Ben.
And today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
To be competitive, build your competence.
My name is Vish. I'm an aspiring yogi, love all things meditation, yoga, and wisdom-based. Super grateful to have Ben on the show. Want to introduce yourself?
I'm Ben Ballard, I'm a quarterback at Texas, and I'm from Austin.
Thanks for being here, Ben. Have you heard of this guy named Sadhguru before?
I actually have not.
Cool, well, let's watch a video by him.
Let's do it.
Namaskaram Sadhguru. So I'm saying that the idea of competition is so much ingrained in our minds, not even at the school level, but even at the postgraduate level or any aspect of our lives, that it creates a lot of unnecessary stress. So what can be really done about this?
competition is a good thing. If you're incompetent and you're in competition, you will feel stressed.
Great point, do you agree?
Yeah.
You think competition is good?
What did you say?
You think competition is good?
Oh yeah, makes you better.
If you want
all
to be in a
facets.
competitive situation, the thing is you have to work on your competence. Right now the problem is, you're tweaking your desire, you're not tweaking your competence. This is what has to happen, that we must teach children to tweak their competence, not their desire. We are calling this ambition, we are calling this goal-orientedness. Ambition means what? You tweaked up your desire, you'll suffer invariably. If you tweak up your competence, you will see wherever you go, you're doing better than what people expect you to, so naturally things will go well for you. Competition is not the bad thing, lack of competence is the bad thing. We must understand this. In this country, this is very important because we still think our
Great
education
perspective.
is cooked in heaven. Because people tell me temples are crowded just before the examination. Just the wrong place to be. Just the wrong place to be. When your examination is coming, you sitting in the temple is just the wrong place to be. In the vacation, you sat in the temple, great. So instead of competence, we have big desires. If you focus enough on enhancing your competence, you will see there is such joy in breaking limitations every day and becoming something better. You don't care a damn how somebody else is doing. Yes, if every day, if you're breaking limitations, when I was speaking to I think our home school, I was telling them, a class full of children should sound like eggs are hatching. You know, at one time I used to do sericulture, silk farming. And I was amazed. I was so amazed I didn't take them to the market sometimes. Because if you just leave the cocoon long enough, if you don't take it to the market, you should see how it opens up. Like this it'll be making noise. Slowly they're opening it up. When 1,000,000 of them are trying to open, you go inside this room, it's going. This is how a school should sound. That every moment they're breaking their limitations. If you are breaking the limitations of who you are, if your competence, you're working constantly to expand, you don't even have the time to look at somebody, how is he doing? Because this is such a great thing happening within you. So please focus on your competence. Competition, you don't bother. If you're good, you'll be on the top, otherwise you'll be somewhere. It's okay.
So Ben, after watching this video, what are your first thoughts?
I mean, I think it shows great perspective. I don't know, you kind of makes you realize that like if you're not confident or competitive, then you're not going to be very successful because you're not going to end up wanting to do anything. You're just going to roll over. So that made me thought about like my situation at UT. Like when I'm competing with someone, whether it's football or school, I kind of just treat it like I'm better than this guy, and then I'll do everything I can to make it past them or beat out somebody, you know. And then once you do, then you go on to the next person, and then you kind of leave that last person in the rearview mirror, and you just work your way up until you're finally at the top. And so I think that was kind of what made me think about what he said, and I thought that was cool because it makes a lot of sense. Because I mean, if you're not going to be confident or competitive, then you're just really not going to end up doing anything. So I like that part.
Thanks for sharing, Ben. I definitely love to hear your perspective as well from your experience being a quarterback at UT. Yeah. It's a top school for sports and for football. And yeah, I also agree to an extent in the sense that I think the key here is competition isn't good or bad, at least from what I've kind of learned from the video. It's all about realizing how instead of focusing on others, like focus on yourself, right? Build your competence up. How do you do that? I'm curious with, you know, being a quarterback and being a student, like a student athlete, right? Would you say you focus more on others or focus more on yourself? And like, how do you find that balance?
I kind of just like see what the other person's doing, or like the one that's at the top. And
like role models?
Yeah, like if there's a dude at the top, then I'll do everything I can to just like outwork him or whatever it is, watch more film than he does until I'm finally going to be there. That's kind of like what I'm trying very hard to do right now. So, but it feels good once you're there, but the hard part is what you did to get there. So that's kind of how I see it.
100%, man. It's definitely, I think action is more important than just thinking or, you know, just like being in your head. And with regards to, I guess, let me ask you about this, your perspective on, he mentioned a little kind of joke where the day before like this big exam day, people are just like praying essentially, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think they're only praying because they've worked so hard for that exam or didn't work so hard for that exam.
Do you think it's going to do much, or what are your thoughts? It's an open platform here, so whatever you think.
I mean, ultimately, if you haven't done the work, then you're probably not going to do well. So that's kind of how I see it. Like, think about all the tests you went in to, and then like you know how hard you worked for it, and you kind of knew like what grade you were probably going to get. So that's kind of
pretty fair and square thing, right? What you put in is what you get out. So at the end, yeah, I would say it really comes down to, I think you also mentioned the point of, I forget the exact term, but it was having these exaggerated dreams and like only focusing on the desires, right? Yeah. Or I think at least what I kind of took away from this was that people tend to really focus a lot more on the thinking and the dreaming, but not the doing, right? And I think, for example, let's just hear about your experience here. Being a quarterback at UT or Texas, it's a very prestigious thing, right? Yeah. So I'm sure it's something a lot of people wanted. So what do you think helps set you apart from the rest? And what's your advice to someone that's aspiring to also get to such a position?
Honestly, like, I'm going to be honest, I feel like I just was more competitive about being a quarterback here than all the other talented people out there at other places. This place is like all I wanted to be at my whole life, and I've worked since I was like 8 years old to get here. So I don't know, I would say that if you just have the pure desire and will to do so, then go do it. Like, everybody's going to be dealt a different hand to start with. Some is easier than others. Some have a harder path. You know, just you got to adjust accordingly. You're just because you're not Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes in high school or middle school or whatever it is, doesn't mean you can't be. You just gotta aspire to do so and not let anyone else get in your path. Just be single-minded. So that's kind of what I have to say.
Absolutely, man. And even using the example of Tom Brady, right? Again, we mentioned this in the other video. I don't think he was a great player initially, right? He was maybe like physically not the best, skillfully not the best, but then he stuck to his own craft. He worked on his own competence as Sadhguru recommends, and he even developed his own system of like mobility and stretching. And I think he's right now outshining the other players. What do you think?
I mean, you can't like honestly, you can't do it if you're not going to be that guy that just truly wants it and like will do anything possible to do it.
Put in the work.
Yeah, like I said before, I mean, like everyone's gonna be dealt a different hand. So some people, let's be honest, some people are gonna be, it's gonna be a harder path for them. Myself included, it was harder for me than others, but like not everyone's gonna be Trevor Lawrence. Like just first, like he was the #1 pick in the draft, and then when he came out of high school, he was like the #1 overall player. Like that's so rare for that to happen. So just kind of keep with the mindset that nothing's going to be given to me. I have to go earn it. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, we're all given and dealt different cards, right? So instead of sitting and complaining about it, I think the key is to do action, and anything is possible, right? Just because you have a better base, sure, let's be honest, some of us do have the advantage, but that itself isn't going to do much for you. You got to actually work on your craft and just not just, I mean, dreaming is great, but I think you got to dream with action. Any closing thoughts here?
I mean, just whatever your dream is, everyone has a dream. Never met somebody that doesn't, but whatever it is, like, just go do it until you've actually done it. Just work your ass off until you get what you want. So that's really it.
Awesome, Ben. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective and the experience and the wisdom that you have. And want to remind the viewers where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram or Snapchat, just BenBallard_5. So
all this stuff will be down below. And if you have any other video reaction requests or topic or guest requests, you can also comment down below. And with that, make a great day, take it joyfully, and stay conscious. Awesome job, Ben. You did great.
thank you.
Awesome.